Day in the life of a business analyst. So you want to pursue a business analyst role, but you are not quite sure what the day in the life of a BA typically looks like. Well, you've come to the right spot. What is going on, guys? Welcome to my channel. I'm the BA tutor, and on this channel, I talk all things in the world of the business analyst and IT in general. So in today's video, I'm going to be walking you guys through a typical day for a business analyst. I have had experience being a business analyst for a long time, so I know this very well. So here we go, all right? I'm gonna basically break this day for you guys down into 3 separate sections, okay? And before I even get into that, real quick, I just wanna say a lot of your day is going to depend on where you are in terms of certain projects that you are being put on. So I would advise you go ahead and check out my other videos as well. I got a ton of free content on the channel, but basically where you are in certain projects, right, whether you're at the beginning, middle, or the end, that will dictate a lot of your day. But let's go ahead and use, a fairly typical example at a general level. So the 3 sections that I'm going to be breaking this day into is going to be essentially the early morning, afternoon, and the back end of the day. The morning, around 9 to 11, you're going to be checking your emails, you're going to be checking your IMs, and you're going to want to basically, respond to people, follow up with people, and reach out to folks, whatever it is that you need to do. In the mornings, that is essentially what's going to take the bulk of your time, those tasks, as well as prioritization for the day. Hey, what meetings do I have today? What people do I have to reach out to? What people do I have to talk to? Again, what people do I have to follow up with? So all of those things are going to take place in the morning, as well as your daily stand-ups and team syncs. So in sprint planning, you are essentially going to have, a daily stand-up that will take place, a scrum meeting that is typically going to be taking place if you do run agile. So that is going to be something that will be there for you, where you talk about your progress, you talk about any blockers, etc., that you have. Now, not all companies do this, but again, I'm talking at a general level. It's typical. And then you could also have some stakeholder meetings as well, right? Talking with stakeholders and seeing, where you need essentially assistance as far as being able to break down the requirements that you need to go ahead and write. So asking follow-up questions, etc. So essentially that is going to be the early morning part of your day. Emails, IMs, daily stand-ups, team syncs, maybe some stakeholder meetings. Then we get the afternoon part of the day, and I'm going to sort of, take the stakeholder meetings part and put it in here as well, because they could also take place in the afternoon here, or even later part of the day, the back end of the day. But this is really where you are doing the bulk of the analysis and documentation, I believe, typically in a day, right? Where you're going to be grooming your backlog, or you're going to be going ahead and writing your user stories. Now, some companies still use BRDs and FRDs, but if you're running Agile, that's typically not the case. And you're essentially going to be, doing the bulk of the documentation that you need to do as a business analyst, usually during this part of the day, right? And then obviously you have lunch. You could go ahead and take an hour for lunch, but we're talking about obviously the work portion of it. So that is going to be the case, all right? And then the back end of the day, and by the way, the afternoon that I was talking about, typically around 12 to 2. Back end of the day here, 3 to 5-ish, right? Where you also will have probably meetings here, collaborating with other areas like developers, QA, architects, UX, UI, all of those folks if you need to. More meetings at this point. Again, stakeholder meetings could be in the afternoon, could be at the back end of the day. You're also wrapping up to see what you essentially need to close out, what you would essentially need to have finished for the day. You're probably going and getting that done, and then getting an early start to tomorrow as far as prioritization, right? And prioritizing what you have to do for tomorrow, for probably later on in the week. So that's at a high level what is going to take place for you as a business analyst in a typical day. And usually no day looks the exact same. And so you are probably going to be doing different things every single day. Again, it's not going to be too different. It'll be a little different, but it won't be the exact same. All right. And again, these things vary. I wanted to just paint you guys a picture of a typical general day as a business analyst. So just to recap here, we have meetings, we have emails, IMs, and then we have analysis, documentation, and then obviously, more meetings and wrapping up in prioritization. The other thing that I also wanted to mention was going to be all the tools that you're going to be utilizing throughout the day to do your job. So we're talking about Teams, right? Microsoft Teams, Outlook, Slack, potentially, Jira, ServiceNow, SQL, Tableau, Power BI, Excel, Visio. All of these things are fair game as far as tools that you could be utilizing depending on what company and what team that you are on. So that will also be a big part of your day, utilizing these tools. So hopefully that helped and gave you guys a picture and a snapshot as far as day in the life of a business analyst. So if it did help you guys out, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more content. Would really appreciate that. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next video.